My brothers and sisters, the Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to St. Luke. Each year, Jesus' parents went to Jerusalem for the feast of Passover. And when he was 12 years old, they went up according to festival custom. After they had completed its days, as they were returning, the boy Jesus remained behind in Jerusalem, but his parents did not know it. Thinking that he was in the caravan, they journeyed for a day and looked for him among their relatives and acquaintances. But not finding him, they returned to Jerusalem to look for him. After 3 days, they found him in the temple, sitting in the midst of the teachers, listening to them and asking them questions. And all who heard him were astounded at his understanding and his answers. When his parents saw him, they were astonished. And his mother said to him, "Son, why have you done this to us? Your father and I have been looking for you with great anxiety." Well, he said to them, "Why were you looking for me? Did you not know that I must be in my father's house?" But they did not understand what he said to them. He went down with them and came to Nazareth and was obedient to them. And his mother kept all these things in her heart. And Jesus advanced in wisdom, age, and favor before God and men. The Gospel of the Lord. Yeah. Okay, morning everyone. Merry Christmas. Great. Okay. About 3 weeks ago, the Hershey's Mill Singers had 2 concerts here. And they had about 25 songs in the concert. And one of the songs, it's kind of a cute little thing, it was snippets from 23 different Christmas carols. And the name of the song was Christmas in 3 minutes. You know, and it just went real quickly. So I've been wondering if I could give a homily in 3 minutes. No. You can try it. No, come on, what's up with that? At the 7:30, there was a lady over here, she says, "Amen." So it's like, ouch. Anyway, when I prepare my homilies, I use this resource called Connections. And Connections is pretty easy. It's an explanation paragraph that explains the gospel, and then there's a paragraph that offers ways of putting it into practice, how we can apply it. So if I stick with Connections, I won't get down to 3 minutes, but I'll try to move this along. Okay, so let's jump right into this. When St. Luke sat down to write his gospel, he had a copy of St. Mark's gospel in front of him. But there was something about St. Mark's gospel that he didn't care for. It began with Jesus as a full-grown man, 30 years of age. Luke was wondering what Jesus' earlier life was like. You know? Well, he found stories about Jesus' earlier life. Something about, traveling from Nazareth and the Magi and the shepherds and the angels and then having to flee to Egypt. So the gospel that we just heard today is the last of these childhood stories of Jesus. St. Luke got all these stories, he arranged them, and he formed them into 2 chapters, the first 2 chapters of his gospel, and it's called the infancy narrative. It's the first 2 chapters, it's called the infancy narrative. What's it called? The Great. So it's stories about Jesus' infancy. This is the great big theme of Luke's first 2 chapters. The great theme is this. This is an extraordinary Jesus, an extraordinary child, okay, with an extraordinary birth, but it all takes place among very ordinary people and events and circumstances. You know? This is an extraordinary child, extraordinary birth, but it takes place amongst pretty ordinary events and people and things. And the gospel today, finding Jesus in the temple, illustrates both of these things. Okay? So notice what happens. When they finally come into Jerusalem, Mary and Joseph, they find Jesus in the temple. There's no evidence that Jesus is upset, that he's been lost for 3 days, that he's been running around looking for his parents, that he's been worried about getting something to eat or getting something to drink. There he is, sitting right in the temple, very home, very at peace with it all. This is an extraordinary person. Okay? All around him are these religious leaders, and they're asking him questions, and he's asking them questions, and they're all amazed at his understanding. This is a 12-year-old kid. Any of you 12 years old? Can you just stand up for 1 minute? Okay, just face the people. Okay. That's what Jesus looked like when he was 12 years old. Okay, no, you can sit down. What's your name? Sean? That's a great name. Thanks, Sean. So this Jesus is divine. He's extraordinary. This is a divine child. Okay? But notice, it all happens in the context of very ordinary people, ordinary events, ordinary circumstances. You know, his mother is pregnant before she's married. There's talk of adultery and divorce. That's common. You know, when Mary and Joseph go looking for him, they're just panicking. And when they finally find him, you can hear Mary's kind of frustration, like, "Why have you done this to us, son? Don't you know that your father and I have been looking for you?" That's a very ordinary, common reaction. And then, you know, at the end of the story, we're told that Jesus goes back to Nazareth. He's obedient to his parents. He matures spiritually and physically and emotionally and mentally. And that's it. We don't know anything more about Jesus for the next 18 years of his life. So again, though Jesus is divine, he lives in a very ordinary family. He lives in a very ordinary family. And that's kind of the mystery of this feast that we celebrate today, the Feast of the Holy Family. Okay, you know, every Catholic is celebrating this feast today throughout the world. And it's an opportunity not just to reflect on Jesus' family, but also on our own families. Okay? And we all know that sometimes it's tough. We know that sometimes it's tough trying to preserve our Catholic Christian families today. In Jesus' day, it was easy to create a faith-filled family because kind of society supported it. Today, with our secular society, sometimes it's just the opposite. Our society makes it hard to create a faith-filled culture or household for our families. So this is what I'm asking everybody to do this week. Okay? Be deliberate and create a faith-filled culture in your home. Be deliberate, and create a faith-filled culture in your home. Now, I think we have to be deliberate on this. It's not going to happen by itself. It's not going to happen by itself. We have to be deliberate. We have to be intentional. We have to be tenacious. We have to make choices. To create a culture of faith in our families. Because our larger culture does just the opposite. It kind of sucks the life and sucks the faith out of our families if we're not careful. So let's be deliberate about this. I think if we want to create Catholic, Christian, faith-filled cultures in our families, we have to say no to certain things. Okay, we have to say no to certain things. We may have to say no to the music we or our children listen to. We may have to say no to the TV shows that we're watching. We may have to say no to some of the social media that just bombards us with values that undermine our Catholic Christian values. Okay? So if you have children, you may have to say no to certain things in the household. If you have grandchildren, you may have to say no to certain things. So in order to create this Catholic Christian culture, I think we may have to say no to certain things. But you know what? We just can't say no to certain things. We also have to say yes to other things to replace them. We have to say yes to other things. So these are 3 things I'm going to ask you to say yes to in order to create a Catholic Christian culture in your homes. The first is this. Number 1, keep your Christmas decorations up for another 2 weeks. Okay, now, I know you'll want to take them. Oh my gosh, you're very clappy today. Okay, you know, I know you want to take them down because they've been up since October. So, I understand that. Okay, but you know what? We celebrate Christmas for this week, and then we celebrate Christmas for the next week. 2 more weeks of the Christmas season. So keep up your Christmas decorations. That would be great. Next one. You know what really helps to create this Catholic Christian culture? Having external expressions of our faith in our homes. So what does that mean? You know, it means having the crucifix or the cross up on walls in our homes. It means having pictures of the saints or Mary in our homes. You know, it means having icons in our homes. All those externals help to create a Catholic Christian culture. They're really important. Last week I went to see a family in the parish. They just moved in, and they were putting up their Christmas tree that night, and there was a fire in the fireplace, and singing Christmas carols and all that stuff. And when I walked into the family room, you know, it was a pitched ceiling, and up on the wall was a big round medallion of Mary and the child Jesus. So we're all kind of sitting around, the fire's there, and I keep looking up, and there's Mary and the child Jesus looking down on this family. You know, that was kind of touching. They wanted to show me their new finished basement, so I went down this hallway to go to the stairwell, and in the hallway was a table with the Bible opened on it. You know, they're just simple things, but they're ways of creating a Catholic Christian culture in our homes. Okay, last one. I went to my sister Kate's for Christmas dinner, and you know, I got there, and you know, we all have appetizers and hors d'oeuvres and all that stuff. And when it comes time for Christmas, we all go into the kitchen. There's about 25 of us, and we all kind of circle around. And then someone says, "Well, it's time to pray." And none of them are taking any initiative. This always happens. So they all look at me and they say, "Jimmy, you're into the prayer business. Okay, why don't you lead us in prayer, Jimmy?" So anyway, so we sang 2 verses of Silent Night. See, I forced this on my parents, just not on you, all this singing stuff. So we sing 2 verses of Silent Night, and then everybody goes around and says one thing they're grateful for this Christmas. Then we joined hands for the Our Father, said the Our Father, that was over, and then I took up the collection. No, just kidding, okay? So anyway, and that was it. Then everybody jumped into the food. But you know what? Family devotions are important. You know, and to be honest, as Catholics, we used to be better at this. So family devotions are important. If you can find ways of praying together as a family, often before meals, I think it's great. And if we do those 3 things, you know, we'll create the holy families that God calls us to be, just like the Holy Family was in Nazareth. Okay, amen? Great.